having a very eminent personality with us, Mr. Prasad Kokil, who is the Managing Director of Sanjay Technoplast Private Limited, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Maharashtra State. He will deliver his session on the topic Energy, Economy, Environment for Sustainable Development. Sir, we welcome you and for this ATAL Online Faculty Development Program on the topic Strategic Implication of Energy Efficiency, Conservation and Sustainability for Global Competitiveness, which we are conducting from 6th of October till date. Today is the last date of the Faculty Development Program. So we are really honored to have with us Mr. Prasad Kokil. He's a dynamic professional known for his extensive work in the renewable energy sector and sustainable business practices. So this session, Mr. Kokil will help to understand how the energy, economy and environment, that is 3 E's, are interconnected pillars that determine the sustainability of our growth models. His talk will highlight the need to strike the delicate balance between economic development and ecological preservation. I request Dr. Kakre sir to introduce Mr. Prasad Kokil sir. Sir, please.
Good morning to all. Without even wasting time, I just talk about Mr. Prasad Kokil sir. He is an electrical engineer, graduate with postgraduate diploma in business management. He is a management director of Sanjay Techno Product Private Limited and EcoSense Applications Private Limited. He started entrepreneurship in 1997 with plastic injection molded parts used in the automotive and appliances industries. He has adding school friends in business and expanded to Pune, Delhi and Uttarakhand. Now the group is having 9 manufacturing plants, doing revenue about more than 300 crore and creating 1000 plus employment. He has been initiated interaction with Indian Institute of Science and AMP, ICT for joint research and commercialization of such research technologies in EcoSense Applications Private Limited. His group has sponsored students from ICT and other institutes for research work. He is a past president of Chamber of Marathwada Industries and IMP, Agricultural CMIA. He is a past chairman of Confederation of Indian Industries Marathwada (CII), and he is an independent member of Consumer Grievance Redressal Forum or Marathwada. He is also a member of Board of Management in Government College of Engineers, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. He is associated with various academic institutions like Saraswati Bhuvan and MIT Engineering College in various capacities. He is director in social organizations like Marathwada Environment Care Cluster, Marathwada Auto Cluster. He is a founder director of Incubation Center Magic by CMIA. It's a startup incubator and incubated about 20 plus startups and incubating about 100 plus. His initiatives as a head ONN and my business are very popular in the technical institute. He is establishing 20 ATAL Thinkers Lab in various schools in the region. 8 labs started functioning and school children are enjoying thinkers with science concept. 800 plus students are benefited until now. He is awarded as the Marathwada Bhushan on 17th September 2018 in Pune. He is awarded as a Plasticon in New Delhi. He is giving time, talent, treasure for city development through initiative like Kham River Rejuvenation, Clean and Green MIDC, Clean City Mission. Recently, his contribution was appreciated by district administration in G20 events in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar city. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Kokil sir for delivering this expert talk.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. To all the audience, comfortable?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Namaste. So first of all, thank you PES for giving me this opportunity to interact with such a audience that matters for the technical education of the nation, of the region. And also thanks Kakre sir, Vadekar sir for giving me this passionate subject about energy, economy, and environment. And based on these three E's, it's required to be a development which is sustainable development. So I'll give my thoughts based on my experience of around 40 years in this field with energy. As an industry, I am involved in economy, and as mentioned by Kakade sir in my introduction, I am also related to few environmental organizations. So these three E's is very close to my heart, and that's why I am very thankful that you have given me this topic and a sustainable development, which is right choice these days. So I'll go to the base of this sustainable development, how this word is coined. Everybody is talking very frequently sustainable and also talking about development. But why this word has coming from, how it has emerged, why it is emerged in that fashion. So if I go back, I take you back to 1983 to 87 era, where Brundtland Commission was formed by World Commission on Environment and Development, WCED, and it is under the leadership of then Norwegian Prime Minister Brundtland, Mrs. Brundtland, Gro Harlem Brundtland, and that discussed for 4 years that how our common future can be developed, and not only for the region but for the globe, how we can define our common future. Because when we talk of development, we talk of sustainability. Geographical boundaries are national boundaries, but this topic is beyond any geographical or country's boundaries. So it is for the globe, and hence the word coin is our common future. I think similar agenda we took when we host G20, that we all have a common agenda to survive, to promote this globe. So similar fashion we discussed, and there it is very much discussed meeting present needs. So then present needs may be today's future needs, compromising of future generations. So we should not forget that we have to give this earth to our future generation. So we should not extract from today, from the resources, and see that our next generation, future generations will run out of resources. So it is our moral responsibility to have these parameters into our mind. So ability to meet our own needs with integrated economic growth and social equity, and of course environmental protection. So for this SDGs, which we call today as Sustainable Development Goals, which are 16, 18, sometimes the priority is given on nation to nation basis, but this is a prima facie what is known as sustainable development, and the word is coming from. So what were the key aspects of that future, or the common future for our globe, or we say Vasundhara, or we call it as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? So United Nations has established this. I mentioned about Brundtland as its chair. Purpose was very clear, how we should go beyond geographical boundaries, beyond national boundaries, and think in a direction so that our future globally is sustainable, and we will have development, and which will carry a sustainable development. So the principle emphasizes the need for harmony between economic growth of course, a social equity and environmental protection to ensure well-being for present and future generation. So this word is coming from there where I am talking on development. Everybody knows that a human being has evolved from jungle to today's era of AI. So whenever we grow, whenever we march a journey, we have a dent on environment. Everybody knows that we have cut jungles and started agriculture for our staple food. So there the major impact came that jungles were started destroying and the agriculture lands are becoming popular. So is that a sustainable development? Of course, yes, because of that only we all survived and we have come to a development stage where we can talk of industry 4.0, we can talk of AI, and we can also talk of going to moon and other things in the planet and other planets as well. So we must understand that whenever there is a development, when there is a progress, there is going to be a damage to environment. But how we can do it minimize, how we can do it in minimal way, or how we can do it in a different way that we create something if we damage something. And that is what we call it as a sustainable development. So well-being for present and future generation. When we say this, we should understand that we are living in a country of Mahatma Gandhi, who always said and promoted minimum requirements, one stick, one speck, and one pancha for living. We are next generation of that era where our minimum requirement was promoted. Today, we are a third or fourth largest economy, but we are also a consuming economy. So when we say that we need to understand well-being, understand sustainability, and I'm very sure that we should give a thought that power of enough. Am I okay with 2 uniforms, 2 dress, 2 saris? Or am I required 20? Or I wanted to have 200 in my wardrobe? Everything is fine as far as economy is concerned. Everything is fine as far as energy is concerned. But are we looking at the environment? Are we looking at a footprint created by this type of consumerism? We need to give a thought. And that is what we need to understand today, that what is sustainable development. And if I talk sustainability, I am sure everybody knows that it's not a choice now. It has to be a survival. We have created so much of damage to nature that sustainability has become a survival for this. And that's why from 87 onwards, we all are talking about sustainability. We are talking about sustainable development. And these 3 E's, of course, every E will accompany with one common E. Whenever we talk of energy, it is the efficiency incorporated in energy. Whenever we talk of economy, it is along with the efficiencies in channel of economy. And when we say environment, this is a very sensitive matter for our survival. Hence, it is also accompanied with efficiencies in environmental protection, effectiveness in environmental situations, effectiveness for getting the environment to a level that we breathe normally with good air, fresh air, unpolluted air. We drink water which will be unpolluted, and also we eat grains from unpolluted soil. So environment is also very important. And what is interconnection between these 3 E's? It is very important that we need to have a balance between growth, our resources, use of our resources, the effectiveness of resources, and the ecological stability around us. If we decided to take care of our own area of, say, 10 kilometers radius or 100 kilometers radius, I think a city can be a better city, livable and lovable city, and we should balance these three is with effectiveness and efficiency as inbuilt for all these three. This topic is very crucial for India, also for the world today. And why specifically India? Because we live in India. This is our mother India. This is our nation India. And we know that we wanted this to be a guru of entire world. We wanted to be a guru of teaching the sustainability to the world. We are teaching power of enough to the world. And here I'll say that we are a party, we are having the Vedic Sanskriti where Panchamahabhuta is very well narrated to us. Our entire body is built with this Panchamahabhuta, and I'm very sure when we talk of energy, we understand that all these five elements or five basic elements are the sources of energy. Not only sources of energy, but it is a balance of energy. So our Vedic Rigveda talked about Agni as a resource for main energy and sun as a primary energy. And today also, I think Jalte sir has mentioned that though coal is going to be pollution, but we have to take support of coal as thermal power stations cannot be eliminated, and future slides or next slides will also tell and assertively that we cannot eliminate that. So where it comes from? It is coming from the earth. So again, a element which is basic. We have a hydro, which is again an element of basic. We have a fire, Agni, from where we generate energy. From air, we generate energy as our wind. And also there are efforts to generate energy from our space. Because this is also a energy जिसको हम बिजली कहते हैं. The word bijli came from there, so it is also a source of energy. So let's talk on sustainable development, but also talk on the balance of these three equally important: economy, environment, and energy. And when I show the base of sustainable development and the two rounds or spheres on those as environment and energy, I'm going to give you a clue that economy will come from these two basic spheres. So if we talk of energy, and if we talk of energy as electricity, I think lot of business, as talked by Jalte sir, will come from the businesses of power sector. Electricity, maybe wind, private sectors has a tremendous potential, and that will lead to economic growth of the country. So whenever we say that energy is generated, it is mobility of energy, and their fossil fuel plus EV plus hydrogen, all these resources will come as an energy source in mobility. And I know everybody understands the power of automotive sector in the country. It is growing fast. Everybody want two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, and many wheelers. So we are going in a way that every time there is a traffic jam, but we should understand this is the power of energy of mobility leading towards the economic growth of the country. And when we say environment, yes, to protect environment, there are a lot of businesses coming. So there are a lot of businessman ideas that coming as to save carbon footprints, to save GHG emission, to reduce my carbon emission with whatever processes I have in the industry, in the cooking, or any sector where I am consuming energy. So these are the two parameters or two wheels which goes very fast so that our economic growth goes up. Hence, that third economic sphere is elevated because of the speed of these two wheels going on a sustainable development. So sustainable development is very important that we listened and heard in the first slide. But these two wheels, energy and environment, will produce so much of business, so much of opportunities so that our economy will grow in a upward direction, and that we are witnessing that we are now fourth largest economy of the world, and very soon we are going to be the third largest economy of the world. So if we correlate these three parameters, I think energy is very dominant because we understand that energy is required to have, and we also understand that energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. Hence, we need to change forms of energy, and there the potential to businessmen, opportunities to young engineers, opportunities to researcher, opportunities to faculties, academicians, that these are the potential area of energy where you can lead to economic growth. Also, you can have a clean energy with lesser and lesser emission, ecological tolerance ranges so that you are protecting environment. And with this, you also can generate a material base for economic development so that again your economies and scale of economies will decide that your economic growth is fast in upward direction, and you will have to achieve the third position in global standard or global largest. That's why I'm always telling that energy will have more and more opportunities, and the energy will be the core driver of our economic growth. And why I am saying this, as you mentioned by earlier speaker, that by 2070 we have to be net zero, and there I think energy sector will drive a lot of attention, will drive a lot of economy, and investment into that sector will be the higher and higher year on year. So if I say that energy transition through history, what happened? What happened when we were taking energy through wood by three stone chula, and with igniting the stone, a spark is generated and a fire is created. From there to a innovation that the flue gases or gases coming out from wood and the remnant of carbon rich coal, which is more useful fuel as far as calorific value is concerned, emission is concerned. And we learned that during that transition, wood has been converted to coal, coal has been converted to oil, and now oil also getting redundant, and renewables is a new era. But when we say renewable, so is it coming daily or on a frequency? I will say this is renewable because it is coming without you are asking for. So sun will come daily. You will not have to pray that today sun should come, otherwise I will have a problem. It will come. Maybe cloudy days we can eliminate as an exception, but sun will come. So all this wind will come on its own because of a natural progression that is happening in the nature. And that's why we call it as renewable, because we are not inviting it. It is coming, and we will try to harvest by a technology methodology that all these natural resources can be converted into a energy source. And basically we require electricity in terms of requirement of our daily life, and that's why we wanted in every energy to be converted to maximum of electricity. So global primary energy mix is fossils versus renewable. So these are the two challenges today we have. Fossil fuels are said to be diminishing and renewable is said to be not diminishing, coming regularly. And that's why for a sustainable development, for a sustainable requirement of energy, we need to switch quickly as possible towards renewable. So when I say the scenario in our country as India's energy scenario and the dependence on consumption patterns and the challenges we have. So if I say that last 50 years we were dependent on coal and fossil fuel. The solar was initially only for thermal, that is only for hot water and daylight. So we have tried to harvest daylight with our vastus in industry, in houses, in institutions, and trying to take the day sunlight into our homes or working area so that we can be very efficient on usage of electricity rather than a natural sunlight. So that dependence was very much on the fossil fuel with a hybrid mix of whatever sunlight we have, and we consume a lot of energy with petrol, diesel. I'm sure everybody understand that during 2000 or early 90s, we were having a diesel generator, and in our city, Mill Corner is treated as powerhouse because there was a generator established, installed, and that generator was giving power to entire town. So that is the nature of fossil fuel we were dependent on. But I'm sure today we are rarely sees a generator, diesel generator for backup and also for some primary source of energy. But this has created a challenge as well, that the demand is increasing day by day. The requirement of electricity increased for different applications. Earlier, it was not for automobile, but in last 5-6 years, increased in e-vehicles has another challenge that we need electricity to be produced to charge our vehicles to move. So this is also again a challenge. So where from we should be taking these energy as electricity? Do we dependent on thermal, where coal is a primary source and a diminishing source, also a pollutant source? That's why central government has put penalty on usage of coal per ton, maybe 100, 200 per ton, but it's a penalty to understand that we should go on decreasing the source as coal because we want a clean energy, we want a green energy so that our sustainability, our efforts to give the earth in good shape to our future generation increases, and that's how the challenges are. So what are emerging trends? So renewable energy, I mentioned. Solar, we all know. Wind, we understand it very well. Hydro, I know the lot of questions from hydro. But do you know that hydro is not recent past? It is very old, goes back to Mohenjo-daro Harappa level, where hydral power is not only used to generate electricity, but it is used to generate a mechanical power. So I have seen a lot of things in Northeast that there are a stream of water coming in the village and the grains are grounded in that, like our panchakki in our very town where we stay and where from we are talking. Such type of hydral power usage was very common during our era of Mohenjo-daro Harappa. So hydro is very, very old resource that we know that it is coming from. And I'm sure AICT's IKS, Indian Knowledge System, will promote to dig out for academician to go as behind as possible for applications and reinvent those knowledge domains to apply to these current requirements of humankind or citizens, so that we will have old wine in new bottle, old technology in new technology form, with added advantage of industry 4, AI, and all that you should be using for our energy requirements. So biomass is also very old. Go back to Vedic Sanskriti, you will see all that whatever happening in the what we say as Yajna Sanskriti, the biomass was main source of energy to give Agni. And those were not only to create a temperature, but if we go into the details of that Yajna Vedi, we will have a biomass of 16 to 18 types of that Vedi, which generates, eliminates, or emits various types of gases that stabilizes the environment around and protects the earth from many things of solar or many radiations that are coming to our nature, that protects the climate change, the global warming. And that's why those Sanskrit words are very common on Yajna, and that's how we understand as renewable energy as deeply rooted in our culture. Similarly, geothermal. We know that geothermal was very common during our past or very old generations, but today we have a lot of geothermal now. I have come across a startup which is in Mumbai, who is creating a geothermal energy for buildings to be air conditioned. And we know the underground buildings need not require air conditioners. And that's how geothermal energies will become an emerging trend in recent future. Nuclear. Recently, everybody has listened to a news that Prime Minister announced that private sector's promotion in nuclear plants for a smaller size are getting promoted or getting subsidized by government. Why this is happening? This is happening because economy will grow to a level that all these businesses will be profitable. And when these all businesses will be profitable, there is economical growth, there is employment for youngsters, there is a topic for researchers to contribute on various aspects and technologies of these energy source. So that's why these emerging trends not only satisfy our requirement of energy for the nation, but definitely it will help us to have a sustainability and also to have environmental protection while going as economical growth for the country. So this all are entangled or interdependent, and hence these three E's matters for all of us. So if we say hydrogen, hydrogen will be a next fuel, of course, yes, but today still hydrogen is not feasible in coming decade. That's why I put it on a second part. We knew that hydrogen technologies are getting developed. Maybe hydrogen buses will run, and maybe hydrogen will be used for domestic purposes as well. But technologies need to be developed. Sustainable technologies, affordable technologies needs to be a next era for all academicians, researchers, and students, that how we can quickly convert this hydrogen into a regular commodity for energy. So I'm very proud that energy efficiency technologies are taught in our city. We have so many energy conferences every year, and we always talk on energy efficiency, which is very important. And then I'll go back to the German welding, how Germany have converted their requirement with energy efficiency. That will come in my some slide, but I'm very sure the climate neutrality by 2045 is a target for Germany. And phasing out coal by 2038. 100% renewable by 2035. How this has happened? How they have achieved or target has been set? Because this energy efficiency technology or energy efficient equipments has been a basic priority for all German companies. And the mapping of 2022 load or consumption has to be 1/5 by 2030 is target. Imagine the ambitious target. So how it has happened? It has come from our own nation's idea of BEE giving a light at say 100 rupees, LED lamps. Everywhere we are using this technology. And how quickly we are converting all our equipments to efficient equipment in terms of electricity. So this will happen, dependency or emerging trends will be successful only if we work on energy efficiency, and also we work on smart grids and definitely energy storage systems. So a lot of academic has now integrated their research into energy storage systems, and there are a lot of companies, private sector investments are coming because we are going to a destination where we will generate the solar PV, with solar PV a lot of energy in daytime. But if we want to discourage use of coal, then this extra energy generated during daytime has to be stored and utilized in night time. How it will happen? So it has to happen with storage systems, and I'm sure only batteries will not be sufficient. We have to develop many storage systems, and I'm sure academicians are well aware that industry is coming up with so many solutions on storage system, and that's how the storage system will evolve as an economic growth driver. And again, it will be a economy growth plus environment protection, because we will not run coal plants in night. We will have a storage of day energy by clean or green energy systems, and then we will utilize it in night. So these 3 E's will go hand in hand with all the development that is happening in by 2047 or by 2070 as our goal. We wanted to become a Vikasit Bharat, and that's why all these emerging trends will not only set economies at scale, economic growth at targeted rate of growth, but it will also attract environmental sustainability. All these has become a digital energy management. So people are not talking of energy conservation these days. Hence, during my tenure as chairman CII Marathwada Zone, we have launched energy management competition. It's not energy conservation competition nowadays, because management of energy with digital era, with digitally precision management or control is very important, and that will again give a lot of businesses, lot of potential, that how all energy management can be converted to digital precisely to manage, so that your load management side, your demand management side can be very well tackled precisely, and this digital will go long way for giving economy as our key driver. All these slides and the discussions I made, why they are there. And then I'll evolve the concept of energy security and energy independence. So energy security is very important. We recently faced as a nation that we have some tariffs by some countries. We have some sanctions not to bring any fuel or energy sources from some countries. And in that situation, how we can be secured as energy? How it will be similar to food security bill. So we need food and we need a security of food for every individual in the country. Similarly, we have to go beyond and communicate to every individual that your energy requirements are secured in our country. So it's a energy independence. We were independent on 1947, but very sure we are still not energy independent country. We have a dependence on many either friends or a monopolistic countries from where we have to buy gas, we have to bring fossil fuels, also we have to bring rare earths as mentioned by Zhalte sir. So everything we need to bring under a independence energy scenario. So as academician, we need to teach to our students that these concepts shall be a talk of the institute. How we can be independent in terms of energy, how can we are secured in terms of energy, and what will be the projection of our energy requirements and how we can be catering those energy requirements with our own resources, maybe renewable, maybe within coal or nuclear or similar, maybe in future with hydrogen. And these are the concepts that we need to emerge as how we can go for energy independence. So economic growth. Kakade sir, am I audible and going in speed? Is it okay?
It is okay, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Because of paucity of time, because I started 15 minutes late. So I thought, let me make up these 15 minutes for you. Yeah. Okay. So when we say economy, right, it's always growth versus sustainability. And whenever we say growth, it's an economic lens of sustainable growth. So growth with no sustainability parameter will not have any future in near future. So those impacting on the nature, the businesses will be closed. Recently, with the introduction of NGT in last decade, industry and also some public platforms has been taken to task if they are not sustainable enough for environment, if they are not caring for the environment. And that's how we always say that economic lens of sustainable growth is very important. So growth versus sustainability, we should be giving priority to sustainability. And of course, growth is important because we want to achieve economy. We want to achieve our role as economic leader of the globe. So traditional GDP growth versus green growth and current parameters of the public sector companies, of the major private sector companies has been bringing their parameters into their balance sheets in audit reports that we are generating green energy or we are taking efforts for green. The buildings are becoming green. The units of industries are becoming green. The processes are becoming green. And that's how GDP growth is monitored on the scale of green growth. And the recent resolution of BRSR for these industry sectors is becoming more stringent so that you have to initiate many processes, many projects, so that you are in the green growth, in the lens of sustainable growth as economy. So whenever we call a economy or a balance sheet for industry to see the health of the industry, we always say that top line is very important, where revenue marks are given. And also a bottom line is important, where profit is marked or marked. But today, the concept of triple bottom line has emerged, and government is taking through ROC a lot of efforts to tell all industries that only your profit doesn't matter. People living around your industry and the planet where you are living, we all are living, are important, and hence your bottom line is not single bottom line. For profit, you have a planet to be considered as profit for planet, and also you have to consider people as profit with your industry or with your processes. So that's why industry located in area has to take care of the villages around for their sustainability, and they should see that they are zero discharge in terms of any liquid, in terms of any gases or air, in terms of any hazardous or non-hazardous solid waste. So this zero discharge will take care of people, will take care of planet, and surely this will be a long-term profit, but maybe an impact on current cash flow. But this triple bottom line concept is very popular, and government is taking lot of efforts to promote this in major industry, large industry, and now that has come to a MSME as well. A circular economy or a green economy are again newer concepts into the industry, so that the 3 R's, reuse, reduce, is not only enough. You have to bring back, and that's why the Extended Producers Responsibility Act, EPR, has been introduced, and the product going out of your factory has to be taken care till the life of that product, and also at the end of the life, that product has to come to your factory, and you should be able to salvage whatever is good, and you should able to dismanagement or whatever source that you want to do without polluting air, soil, and water. So these acts are becoming very stringent, and that's how the green economy or the circular economy is becoming very popular. And I'm sure, like ship braking industry, we will have a vehicle braking industry coming around a city or major cities, and that will be a circular economy. And that will give again potential for academicians, for students, for MSMEs, that they can grow their business in this direction so that they can earn money. And it's very common for a people of garage that you will get a good part which is not deteriorated in terms of performance, can be reused in your vehicles, in your systems economically, and that's how this circular economy will give a lot of thrust for economic boost, as well as for environmental protection, as well as for your energy requirement. Because 1 ton of making steel will require certain energy, and if that 1 ton is reshaped through this circular economy, reused with this circular economy, we are going to satisfy the requirement of energy, and that energy coming from fossil fuel, which will have impact on carbon emission, GHG emission, will have limitations, and that's how we are going closer to our targets of net zero. cost of unsustainable growth. Very important. So we know the resources are depleting, pollution and the health burden. We know many cities in our own state has faced कि कहीं पे किसी के बाल निकल गए, कहीं पे किसी का गला सूख गया और कहीं पे किसी के आंखों में कंटिन्यू पानी आ रहा है या किसी के लंग्स में देयर इज अ डैमेज. All this is health burden which is coming on government's funds, on medical health checkups, on government's kitty. So that is because of some pollution, that may be because of some unsustainable growth that has happened in that region, and how we can cost it, how we can penalize it so that nobody will dare to go on that path is also a major or a regulator or some body that will monitor such type of growth, and that is very important, and that will also lead to some economies, that such resources or such agencies can become the economic growth or key indicators. So if I say that India wanted to have a dream of first phase of $5 trillion economy by these couple of years, these are the steps, and I'm very sure that everyone is expecting that we can go very quickly as $5 trillion, and you can imagine the resources required today may be doubled in next couple of years, 3 years down the line. And you can see the resources required will generate demand, and that we are facing in industry, that we have a tremendous pressure of development or expansions coming in the industry, that we need to double our capacities, we need to expand in terms of geography, in terms of capacities, and the energy requirements are also increasing, and that's the boost that economy will take while marching towards the third largest economy and a $5 trillion economy. And in that $5 trillion economy, our state has to contribute 20%, means $1 trillion economy. And that's a huge potential for our region, our state, our city to grow. We have 1 lakh crore investment coming in next 5 years in Auric, in Shendra Bidkin, and we can see a lot of economic growth in our city, which will have tremendous impact on academics as well as the city as a whole. So we have a tremendous opportunity for everything. We need to visualize, create some good impact, and harvest these opportunities for us. So again, who will do this? Everybody is saying that ye hota hai, ye hona hai, these are the opportunities, but who will harvest? So a role of industries is very important, because industries will give opportunities to startups, industries will give opportunities to MSMEs, and industry will also create a green economy, recycle, reduce, and reuse. These will have more cyclic effect in a circular economy, and that's why the harvest of these opportunities has to be done by this. And I'm very sure the industry and academia collaborations will give the similar impact to all academicians, because industry will need a partner who will work in theory with some scientific base, with some science base, with some application of engineering, with some development of technology, which will be ready for MSME or industry to scale up and to harvest more. So academic interest is there. So I'm very sure today the faculties will be happy that this region will have major impact for academics to grow fast. Their research papers, their technologies will have golden days in coming 5 to 10 years around this place in the city. I'm very sure everybody understands the National Solar Mission. So we are growing very fast in terms of solar mission. and we are achieving the target prior to the set dates. The date was 2030. We may achieve that target by 2027. I am sure this city has witnessed Aurangabad Green Mission Mobility, wherein one day we booked 250 electric cars of Tata, Nexon and Tigor, and MD of Tata came to this town for 4 hours to hand over the keys of these 250 vehicles. And we are very sure of carbon credits around our city with all as plantation, with reduction in emission, with reduction in kachra jo jala dete hai, uspe. So we have a carbon footprints reducing every time. So these are very key factors that we are going to face in coming years, and our city has tremendous potential to harvest these parameters, because Dhule to Usmanabad or Dharashiv has maximum irradiation corridor, and major solar greenfield and brownfield projects are coming along with solar rooftop. I am very happy that when I was a president of the chamber, we have set a target of 10 megawatt of solar rooftop. Today, it has crossed 70 megawatt of solar rooftop. So this region has very good potential as business, and the maintenance of these solar plants will emerge as a new business for all startups. How we can clean, how we can maintain, how we can monitor their performance, and how we can replenish if at all there is any damage in solar array. So these will come as an economic growth driver in the region, which will again boost economy, which will give protection to environment, because these are all clean energies, and this will also give a development which is very sustainable. So environment, if we talk of environment, we are there because only of environment. And we know that whenever there is an environment shock of any type, landslides, earthquakes, flooding, we have recently witnessed flooding in Marathwada region. We have witnessed earthquakes in our region. Those landslides is not a regular part of our area, but we always see in television, in print media, that lot of landslides are affecting across Himalaya, and that is a fatigue for environment. That is not only damaging the environment, that is not only hampering the environment of that region, but it is also damaging the economy of that region, the sustainability of that region, and that's how energy requirement is increased, because we want to make again road, we have to clean the road, we have to remove the debris, and that's how the energy requirements are increasing, and that's how environment implications are very, very crucial when we say balancing development and ecology. So when we say ecology, we know that human beings are the last to come on this Mother Earth. If I try to map on a scale of year, say from 1st January to 31st of December, the entry of human being is at 11:30 p.m. onwards on day night of 31st December. So just at the end of the year, rest all entities or creatures were there on the earth before a human comes. Are we respecting their presence? Are we taking care for their presence? Are we there to say that fish or the turtle are not part of our pollution damage? Are we taking care of soil pollution? Are we taking care of water pollution so that our water biodiversity is protected? Are we taking care for birds? So I think this ecology needs attention of faculty, and I'm very sure with this, every institution will talk on ecology, that balancing development and ecology is very important, shall go hand in hand, where sustainable development is talked about. And when sustainable development is talked about, we need to leave them, love them, and we can live very comfortably with their coexistence. And that's why forest and the cities or the villages are getting conflicts. बिबटे आ जाता है ना शहर में, because बिबटे doesn't understand that this has become all of a sudden in 5 years a colony where thousands of people are living. It was my runway, my walkway to go to one place. And suddenly this has changed. Of course, development will attract such changes. But we need to look for climate change, deforestation, biodiversity loss, and of course, reducing our waste. Though we are a consumer economy, we consume a lot, we need to look for a waste, how we can handle the waste. It's good to have a larger economy, but it is very bad to have a worst waste management systems. Hence, waste management system be on our forefront as academic projects, as student projects, and how we can create wealth from these waste can become a startup idea, can become an engineering idea, and we can have economy as well as we can have energy from waste. And this economy energy will give environmental protection as well. So this is how we saw these three integrated E's goes always in hand. If I talk about the carbon cycle and the greenhouse effect in very simple terms, I will say carbon is required in the soil, but carbon is emitted, and that's how that global warming is coming. And that's why we need to have a carbon precipitation, bringing that together, bulging that, and keeping that, storing that below sea is a business and is a technologies that are taught today. So these carbon cycles, and we always see there are a lot of agriculture residue being burnt in farms. Does it give a carbon precipitation to soil? Yes, it will. But will it give more damage to the environment? Yes, it will give more damage to the environment. So how we can have a balance between that? Can we create a technologies that we can remove this agri residue, put in some equipment, create some technologies, burn it with all combustion, efficient combustion, let the carbon be with the soil, and let the discharge of the eliminating gas or flue gases can be of minimal damage to the environment. So these are all projects itself, and a lot of things are happening, a lot of work is being done, and I'm very sure in coming decade we will have a lot of technologies, and we will see not agri residue is burnt in the field. So what are our environmental concerns? Everybody understands, everybody talks about it: air pollution, water stress, and land degradation. So land degradation means what? We are putting the chemicals into soil. We are removing the band which were there to protect the soil erosion, because we wanted to cultivate a land to a last millimeter of a boundary. And that's why the soil erosion happens, land degradation happens, and these are becoming environmental concerns. And that's why flood will take away not only crops, but it will also erode soil, and that will become again unbalanced. If there is no soil, how we can aggregate? Agriculture कैसे हो पाएगा? So all these are the challenges of our country, our nation, our region, our state, and we as academicians need to answer with our students that these can be addressed. So these SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals, which were derived from that commission, which I mentioned 83 to 87 work. And that's how this is the wheel that is developed as Sustainable Development Goal wheel. It will be from 1 to 17, and we need to address that if this activity is done, how I am satisfying these SDGs, which SDG is getting satisfied. So we need to map our action with the metrics of this wheel, and we need to rotate this wheel so that everything is important. Not as a hierarchy that number 1 is important and number 17 is less important. It will have a similar importance because every wheel pie will acquire a position of top in every rotation. And that's why we need to understand these sustainable development goals as a wheel and not as a flat surface, because every time we need to address which SDG is going to be satisfied. So I talked about carbon footprint. I talked about the ecological footprint. I will talk about life cycle assessment. So earlier, cheaper was by price. Today, the concept has gone in industry. So if we wish to buy a motor or a pump, we don't buy it on the parameters or lowest quotation from agencies, but we assess its life, and it's the cost of acquiring that asset for a life is calculated, and we call it as life cycle assessment. It may be 10 years for pump, 20 years for any motor or anything that we buy. We will LCA is very important role, and that's how a cost to the company for acquiring that asset is talked about. Because when we discard one equipment, we are replacing it with another, means we are impacting on carbon footprint, and we are also creating an ecological footprint, because manufacturing of that will have to be with energy, with some rare earths, and that has to be mined, that has to be transferred as energy, and that will have an impact. So these days, LCA is very important. So how we can take these concepts to the students so that next engineers, next generation of engineers will not only talk of lowest cost, but they will talk of lowest cost of acquired asset for its life. And they will talk in terms of that, and LCA will play an important role. And that's how the equipment's quality and life will upgrade. Assessment will create some economy, and sustainability and energy will go hand in hand at a compromising of economy. But I'm sure the sustainable development is talking about all that. So if I talk of examples of sustainable environmental practices, I'm sure very soon we will have clean energy villages in our country. One of the villages is developed by ISKCON. Similar horizontal deployment is happening in 5-6 another stations. And I'm very sure that with lot of efforts, like the village nearby by Bhaskar Pere Patil or Popatrao Pawar, so many villages are now acquiring that we need to convert our village as clean energy village with all these green energies into place. That will create economy within the village, and also that will sustain environment of the village. I talked about waste to energy projects. A lot of is happening from municipal waste, from agri waste, from industrial waste, from effluent waste. A lot of waste has to be converted into energy, and these technologies are getting developed in BARC, in ICT, in IIT, in IISc, and I am very sure with collaborations of academics to these premium institutes and with the industry, we are very sure that academic people will get very good opportunities to work in this field in near future. Rainwater harvesting and afforestation, I am sure everybody talked about, but it is also a vital that run should not be a runway for water. We should able to retain our own water from gifted God to the region. It should not flow away and go in the sea, wherein from where we need to go back for a filtration. So these are harvesting methods that we need. And for harvesting, as our region is shadow region, afforestation is very important. Like Gangapur, Vaijapur, and Kannad must have a afforestation. And that's why the city has a plantation drive all the time. And those efforts we need to expedite by the academics because you have a lot of energy of students with you. So we have come to a combination of these three E's, and let us call it as a nexus. Normally nexus is a negative term, but I wanted particularly to use this as nexus because nexus is very effective and result oriented. So let us create nexus of these energy, economy, and environment, and the objective will be very clear that we should have an integrated understanding of it. So there is always a word called dilemma. So dilemma is go this side or that side. So we are using a energy trilemma. So instead of dilemma, I am creating a third dimensions to it. So what are these three directions that energy has to go? We should be energy security. We should be having affordability in energy, and also we must have a sustainability in energy. So can we do these three dimensions as trilemma and satisfy all these three for our energy so that this nexus of energy, economy, and environment can produce result for our generations has to be a sustainable development. We need development, of course, but not at the cost of environment. We need development which is sustainable, which will not create further problems. So that is what this is. And trade-off and synergies among these three is I mentioned with lot of examples that we need to trade off within these three energy, economy, and environment, that sometimes economy will play some undermine role, environment play some higher role, or sometimes energy will be required more and economy and environment will give priority. So these trade-offs are very possible, and we need to understand how we can make these trade-offs within our reach. So system thinking, how one sector impacts another. I have a lot of examples given to you during my all these slides. Also talked about the case studies of German's energy Wende, which I explained while that energy sector is, and the India's renewable energy and EV push. There is always a debate on EV, that EV is not sustainable or it is a very much polluting while creating a battery. But I am very sure those debates are debates. But if the government as a national mission is pushing, it's not our turn to debate. It's our turn to align with these government goals for net zero by 2070, and let us push EV in a big way so that our national goals can be achieved. Because a lot of debate because of economical wars, or we can say Western countries are putting a lot of restrictions on us, and that is creating a lot of bubble and confusion within the elite society or a learned society. Let us put that aside and push ourselves towards EV so that we have a national mission that is coming up. So Bhutan's hydropower and carbon negative status is ideal, but Bhutan has a typical geographical advantage, demographic advantage, and let us identify those areas in our country which will have similar advantage, and can we copy those efforts so that we can have a remarkable improvement in that. So this is my favorite subject. So if I break down all these five, and if I say to academicians, what is role of innovation and technology in integrating these three is for those two below sustainable world and the development world, a lot has to be done. Lot is underway, but we have a potential that we can do a lot while addressing this in terms of innovation or creating some technology through our academic project. So this is open, but we as industry are very open to integrate the projects with academics. And today I know the industry and academia is very closely working in our region. So take advantage of this. So again, we are coming to a closure of my talk with few slides ahead. And I am sure I will not take more than 5 minutes so that we can end. Though we started 12 to 15 minutes late, we will try to close just 5 minutes plus. So national vision and actions, we have an action plan on climate change. We know PM has announced Panchamrit targets in COP26, net zero by 2070, which was a topic in itself just prior to this lecture. And I'm very sure role of youth, role of academia, and role of industries is very important in this achievement, and we have a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship and green jobs. So it's very opportunistic. So if we just align ourselves to these national goals, I think a Pandora box will open for us and we will have a lot of opportunities. क्या करना चाहिए? So inspire and engage audience in front of you. Those are students. So faculties can inspire with these type of presentations or classes or giving example while teaching your own subject. Create engagement with the student and inspire them for such good so that we can able to satisfy Paris Agreement, we can able to sustain with our SDGs and COP Summit. I'm very sure everybody understand that 2028 we have a COP in our country, and that time we have to declare few things, and if we align very quickly, I am sure every institute has a very good potential to get projects from governments for your research. So energy innovations shaping future as fusion AI, AI-driven optimizations, carbon capture. I mentioned that carbon is required to put in soil again, and that's how carbon capture is very important. Coal or charcoal putting back to the soil is an important business these days, and you will get carbon credit out of it. The lifestyle changes for sustainable living. Life. What is life? Lifestyle for environment. That is PM Modi's initiative. We must know that these are the initiatives by PM to satisfy our commitment to a net zero. So this is available on the net. So if I just give a Panchamrit targets, that these are the 5 parameters that we want to achieve these goals by these days, by 2030, by 2030, by 2070. So these are the Panchamrit, we call it as our targets for the nation. So these are a few statistical analytics that India energy mix solar, so much wind in terms of renewable. So small hydro, waste to energy, you can see 1% means there is a start of waste to energy contribution into renewable, and there is a lot of scope. Biomass is increasing by 7%. I'm sure it is increased to next level. So this scenario, again, solar, wind, hydro, and bioenergy is very important as a dominant sector for renewable energy. And we have reached to 90 gigawatt of solar, 47 gigawatt of wind, 50 gigawatt of hydro, and 11 gigawatt of bioenergy, which is very prominent numbers. But let me tell you, these are real achievement in last decade. So we have a lot of things to do so that we can achieve more for 2047 as Vikasit Bharat and 2070 as net zero. So shifting from black to coal to these color is our target as engineering faculty, as a technocrat, engineers, as a problem solvers, that we need to go back to the colored and remove this black so that coal can be minimal as a base, but can we convert that into only peak load and convert others as base load? That's a challenge in front of us. So if I say energy, so growth has been from 1168 to 1824 billion units. So this is a big jump that is coming. So what is National Vision for Sustainable Development as Vikasit Bharat and UN's SDG? These are few sentences that I wish to attend to. And again, the progress report. So on a progress report of SDG score, we have 71 out of 100, and in 2018 we were 57, and we have reached in 23, 24, 71. But I'm sure in 24, 25 we are almost similar or a slight dip there. So the guiding principles to way forward: Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, triple planetary crisis. So we need collective efforts for inclusive growth with the participation of citizens, and how we can contribute as a academic institutions with our students, with our ecosystem, with relevant to region, how we can contribute to these. So these are again key components of the vision. We are very sure of economic growth, environmental sustainability, localization of SDGs, monitoring these data under the Niti Aayog's portal, and very quickly go towards a digital governance. Without any human interference, we should able to monitor it. So these are again source of electricity. I am sure Jhalte sir has taken this course and curriculum important for a faculty that आप सब बोलेंगे कि सर आपने तो सब कहानी सुना दी, एकेडमिक के लिए क्या है, AICT क्या बोल रहा है. So these are few model curriculum, and you are now autonomous university. You have your own board of studies, you have your own academic council. So how model curriculum for sustainable energy engineering can be a part of this, how incorporation of green topics can be part of this, how waste to energy, disaster management, circular economy, and electric vehicles can be part of it. And again, Swayam platform, definitely you all are aware of this. I am just reminding you that these are education for sustainable development shall be our motto. Business and sustainable development shall be our ambition. Strategies for sustainable design shall be our aspiration, and environment and development shall be our satisfaction. And that's how we should be working together. For this, a lot of internship and practical programs are available as green internship programs, Jal Shakti Abhiyan internships. So you can avail these benefits through your students and take participation. Also, there are some initiatives and award on mandatory green campus measures. So you can create your own campus as green campus. One student, one tree initiative in your campus. Clean and smart campus awards. You can divide your campus into various zones or departments and create awards so that everything will be clean, green, and sustainable. So at last, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. So this is the last sentence that I want to tell everyone, that this is to be kept in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I request participants to ask questions, if any. You can post
Hello.
questions in chat box. Yes, sir, please.
Sir, that one thing that is mentioned in our presentation, that clean energy village, that I just want to know what kind of concept it is.
So clean villages is a very simple example that they don't have any electricity as a power connection. So they don't work on electricity. They have their own resources of energy as biomass, as solar, as wind, and also they cook their own food with their own resources. So if electricity is not required, so their borrowing is not required and they are not polluting anything. If they buy 1 kilowatt hour of energy, I am sure they are polluting with coal or something else. So these type of green villages are getting established. One near Thane by ISKCON and one nearby Popatrao Pawar on these sustainable villages are a classical example, and we need to duplicate or replicate those examples.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other question? I think there is no questions from the participant. Now I request Munday ma'am to propose.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As we conclude this thought-provoking session on 3 E's for sustainable development, it's a great pleasure in extending our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Prasad Kokil, Managing Director of Sanjay Technoplast Private Limited, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Maharashtra State, for his engaging and insightful talk. So your session beautifully highlighted the interaction between energy resources, economic growth, and environmental responsibility, future outlook, and call to action, reminding us that true progress lies in achieving a balance among all 3 E's, where practical perspectives on sustainable industrial practices and energy efficient innovations gave us valuable direction toward a greener and more resilient future. We sincerely appreciate the time, effort, and expertise you shared with us today. A warm thanks also to all the participants for your active involvement and enthusiasm throughout the session. Thank you once again, sir, for your enlightening contribution and ending of our FDP discussions on such an inspiring note. Thank you so much.